morning, everyone, and welcome. Well, good morning wherever you are. For us here, it's good morning. More like welcome, everyone. This session will start in 5 minutes to allow participants to settle in. My name is Ione Shaibu, and I'll be moderating today's session and also watching the chat box for your questions. We'll be back in 5 minutes just to allow other participants to settle in. Thank you and welcome again. So welcome everyone again. Like I said, the session will start in 5 minutes, and this is just the time we're starting now. Again, welcome from Topmarké Attorneys and welcome from Niger Lawyer in Canada. This is one of Topmarké's training programs, and we're happy to have you here with us. I'll be your anchor today. My name is Adeniyi Shaibu. I'm an associate lawyer with Topmarké Attorneys. Today we have two speakers that you already know. The first person is Ms. Moyo Sadiq, and she'll be talking to you about foreign trained lawyer licensing journey. And Mr. Babaola will also be speaking about the forest, how you go through the forest of the legal forest in Canada. So sit back and join us, and I'm sure that you would have a great time. Set your expectations. I trust that at the end of the session, there'll be clarity of vision and your questions will be answered as well. So I'll call on Ms. Moyo Sadiq, and she would speak with you for 15 minutes. The session will take an hour and 30 minutes and will be a great time for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayoni. Hi, everybody. Thank you for sparing your time and being here. I'm Moyo Sadiq. So I'm going to be talking about the foreign trained lawyer licensing process. I'm the founder and content creator of Niger Lawyer in Canada. And the essence of the Instagram social media page is to assist foreign trained lawyers to know the licenses that they're going to have to, the part of the licensing that they have to go through and what they need to know. So I'm going to be presenting this. The task one, if you're interested in getting licensed to practice law in Canada, is to get the NCA assessment. To do that, you have to determine your eligibility by using a self-assessment tool on the NCA website. So the NCA website is nca.legal. You apply online and the fees have been reduced to 350 Canadian dollars. It used to be 400 Canadian dollars. You ensure that the issuing institution sends the required documents like your LLB transcript, your BL transcript, and you also get a letter of good standing from the MBA branch that you are based in or the Supreme Court of Nigeria. You also upload your resume and your certificate yourself on the website. The next step is to pass the NCA exams. I know I say it softly now, but it's not that easy, trust me, but it's a lot of work. You have a minimum of 5 subjects, which can be satisfied by writing and passing the NCA exams or completing them at a Canadian law school. So you have a choice of self-studying and going to write the NCA exams or doing a course like the LLM in Canadian Common Law in York University. They are called different things in varying institutions, so it just depends on what you want. If you're going to be writing the NCA exams, the pass mark is 50%. It's an open book exam. It's self-study. However, you may choose to get a tutor or join Skype study groups and, liaise with your colleagues and practice. Exams are written up to 4 times in a year: January, May, August, and October. However, due to the pandemic, we all know that things are not exactly how they used to be, but this is the status quo. A major tip is time management. It's, I tell people that fail, because I've personally failed one of the NCA courses. It's not because you're not intelligent that you failed. The time management is something that we're not really used to from, if you were from Nigeria, like managing to write so much in just 3 hours, it's a headache. So you have to learn that strategy. It's more of a strategic exam than anything else. If one fails, a failure report is going to be provided, and that comes into your email. You get a failure report that explains the things you didn't do right or how you should have handled that question, or maybe you were talking about something that you didn't need to talk about so much. The next step is now, once you've passed your NCA exams, you get a certificate of qualification, and that means that you've passed the equivalency tests for going to a Canadian law school. So now you have to go to your province where you reside or where you intend to practice or where you intend to get called to bar, and then satisfy their own requirements. And it differs province by province. So upon completion of the bar admission programs in the various provinces and satisfaction of the good character requirements, you apply for the call to bar. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I must have missed, I missed something there. Okay, I clicked the wrong one. Okay, so you apply for entry to a law society bar admission program in any of the Canadian common law provinces. So for Ontario, what Ontario requires that you pass 2 exams, and they're called the barristers and the solicitors exams, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide. However, some other provinces don't require that you pass any bar exams. Some of them require you to register for prep or CPLED. So depending on the province that you decide to stay or the province you intend to get called in, you have to go to their website, the Law Society of the province, to know what your next step is going to be after passing the NCA. So you also have to message NCA and tell NCA to send your certificate of qualification to the province, the Law Society of the province that you intend to practice in. The next step is articling, which is kind of also general because all provinces require articling. It's just that the options for articling then differs province by province. So articling it's like a form of internship, using a non-legal term. So it's an experiential training requirement in all the provinces. The aspirant is required to work with a principal, and in Ontario, the articling period is for 10 months. However, you have some options in Ontario, which are law practice program offered by Lansing University in conjunction with LSO. So the law practice program is an 8 months program where you do 4 months training online and in person. And the remaining 4 months will be the placements where you would have a principal and have to then work. So it's 2 months lesser than the 10 months program. And in Ontario also, you could get a full exemption. There's an application process that comes with that. It's on the LSO website. If you intend to get a full exemption from articling, you have to prove that you've had up to 10 months, a minimum of 10 months legal experience in a common law country. And you also have an option to get an abridgment in Ontario and some other provinces. The abridgment means that, assuming you feel like you just want to article either ways and you don't want to spend up to 10 months articling because you know you have some experience, you could apply for an abridgment and tell them that you would want to do your articling for like 4 months, 5 months or something like that. And it also has an application. The next task is CPLED and PrEP. So CPLED is Canadian Centre for Professional Legal Education. It provides the training needed before being called to the bars of Alberta, Manitoba, Nova Scotia, and Saskatchewan. Aspirants looking to be called to the bar in these 4 provinces must complete the recently launched program, Practice Readiness Education Program, that's PrEP, in addition to articling. PrEP helps aspirants gain practical knowledge and competencies in law skills and practice management. In these provinces that I mentioned, Alberta, Manitoba, Nova Scotia, and Saskatchewan, you're not required to write the bar exams. It was up till January that Nova Scotia wrote bar exams. So January was their last batch of bar exams before they joined the PrEP. So the next slide is the Ontario bar exams. So you also write bar exams in BC and New Brunswick. In Ontario, the bar exams are divided into 2 sets of 7-hour-long exams. The barrister's exam have topics under or questions under professional responsibility, criminal law, family law, civil law, and public law. And solicitors have professional responsibility, again, which cuts across both, real estate, business law. And there's no pass mark stated, which is really the tough one. You just don't know whether you've passed or not until you see your results. Then the next thing is to get called to bar. So there's also a process. Once you've passed your NCAs, and assuming you're in Ontario, you passed your bar exam and you did your articling, or you got a full exemption for your articling, you have to fill some forms, and there's a process, you have to pay some fees and do the relevant documentation. And there's a ceremony, which recently was done administratively online 2 days ago. So that's the first of its kind because of the pandemic that is going on right now. And I also wanted to mention that due to the pandemic, up till March 3rd was the last 7-hour exam, 7-hour straight exam. So now they are dividing it into 2 days of 3.5 hours each for you to do it online, just due to the pandemic. No one knows whether that's going to be the state after, but that's currently what it is right now. But generally, it's a 7-hour exam. So alternative career paths. Not everybody would decide to come to a new country, settle, and try to get licensed in the same in law. Some people will decide that they want to do other career paths, which is fine, because it's totally relatable that at a point you just feel, okay, I don't need law, I just want an aspect of law which I can fulfill or I can do without getting licensed or spending so much for that process. And some alternative career paths are contract reviewer, compliance manager, paralegal. In some provinces, you have to, in Ontario, to be a licensed paralegal, you have to go to school for 1 year and then do your licensing process. It's called the P1 exams, while the bar exams are called the L1 exams. You could also become an immigration consultant, but you have to go to school for 6 months and then write the entry to practice exam to become an immigration consultant, an RCIC or RSIA. You could decide to be a mediator. You could be a family arbitrator, a law clerk, legal assistant, office administrator, legal researcher, minutes taker, insurance claim officer, privacy officer, process server, customer care rep, probation officer, anti-money laundering officer, court reporter, or court clerk, or court registrar, court services officer, or court and client representative. So there's many, this is just a few of the alternative career paths. There are a lot, so just depending on your niche or what you enjoy. And so the tips that we have from Niger Lawyer in Canada is that as much as possible, try to start the process early. While you are in Nigeria, try to get all your transcripts sent, do all the things you have to do. Make sure that your transcript has been sent, your resume has been updated, you fill all the forms, you make the payments to NCA so that you could get your assessment before you land. If it's possible, if you have a visa to, because I know a couple of people that come over to just write their exams before they land finally and, you know, just hit the ground running. So just start early, it's really important. You have to read to understand and know where to find your answers. That's something that we're not used to, especially in West Africa, where most of our exams are not open book. So the concept of getting used to an open book exam is something you have to work on. You have to learn the skill. You have to know where to find the answers as fast as possible. And you read the syllabus, and time management pops up again because it's really important. Try as much as possible to get a support group. There are many support groups out there. I'm managing multiple support groups as Niger Lawyer in Canada. We have the ITL network that you can join. It's a bigger group. While Niger Lawyer in Canada is kind of restricted to Nigerians, the ITL network is open to all nationalities. So you could look up at ITL network and join. The support group is going to be able to assist you when you're stressed and let you know that you are not alone in this journey. Then don't be peer pressured. Know thyself, know yourself. Don't stress yourself too much. Not everybody can write 5 exams at a go. But if you can, that's fine. But just know yourself and pace yourself. And be conscious of your mental health, which is very important. Be determined and never give up. Thank you. So the last slide is going to be a little bit about us, Niger Lawyer in Canada. So Niger Lawyer in Canada is a blog detailing the journey of an immigrant Nigerian lawyer transitioning, settling, and planning to get licensed to practice in Canada. The blog provides information on various aspects of the licensing journey. So this is my personal timeline. I received my assessment in April 2018, and I wrote my first exam in October 2018. You see that gap there? That gap, I was using it to think, oh, should I just do an alternative career path? That was the time in between my settling and not being sure of whether to to go ahead with the licensing journey. And I wrote the last NCA exam October 2019, and my first bar exams, which I did, is the barrister's exam March 2020. And I'm hoping to write my second bar exam, which is the solicitor's. So that's it from us. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sadiq, for the tips that you've just given. Those are excellent tips, and I can say that from experience. Thank you once again, and we look forward to hearing more from Niger Lawyer in Canada. We look forward to celebrating your success and the journey as well. And we know that once you get licensed, the work will not stop there. You would continue to provide information on your blog on various aspects of the licensing journey. Thank you very much, Ms. Sadiq. So at this point, I'll be introducing our next speaker, Mr. Johnson Babalola. Mr. Johnson Babalola is a partner in Topmarké Attorneys, LLP, Canada, and in Nigeria. He'll be speaking to us about how we can wade through the legal forest in Canada. Again, tips for foreign trained lawyers. Mr. Babalola is a seasoned lawyer, and he has cognate experience in immigration and refugee law. He'll be speaking to us for about 30-45 minutes, and we'll take our questions at the end of this session. Thank you.
Okay, here we are. So I want to thank Niger Lawyer in Canada for actually making this to happen, because I think some time ago, Moyosore Sadiq and Miriam Murtala spoke with me that we needed to do this, that I needed to give a talk, and we were going to do this in person. And but then COVID-19 happened, and then we thought that as part of Topmarké's continued information sessions, that we should just do this, and then it's happening. So thank you to Niger Lawyer in Canada for the opportunity, and and I welcome everyone on to this program from different parts of the world. So we are looking at exploring the legal forest in Canada. That's our topic for today. So the overview for today will be we'll talk just briefly for 1 second about Topmarké Attorneys. Just quick info about JB Johnson Babalola. Then we talk about the forest, and then we go through the journey, my own personal journey through the forest of life, and in this profession, especially focusing on the legal profession. We talk about COVID-19. I said 18 there, it should be 19. Apology for that. So COVID-19 and the global economy, the challenges, the opportunities, and the tips to help you navigate through the legal forest. I do take cognizance of the fact that we are at different levels in this journey. I note from the list of people that basically registered to be a part of this program that some are still in school, studying. Some are here, they had completed the NCA process. They're about to start their legal journey in Canada in terms of practicing. Some are still writing their exams, some are already practicing. So different levels of this journey, that's what we all have, but it doesn't matter where we are. We have a focus, we have a goal. And the goal for all of us is to be successful in this practice. And to do that, we have to understand that based on this quote by Audrey Hepburn, that nothing is impossible because the word itself says I'm possible. So whatever you want to do, whatever your focus is in this journey, when you set out, just know that it is possible, and you will get it done. So I want to again say that we need to focus on where we are going, the journey itself. With respect to Topmarké Attorneys, we are a law firm based in Toronto, Canada. We have multiple offices in Canada, and we basically focus on our clients, because we value our clients. We value the fact that, quite frankly, without the clients, we have no business, and we value the firm and the staff, and we also value our community, and we do our best to be excellent in all we do. We want to make a difference to the life of everyone that we come across, and so our lawyers and other professionals that work in our firm have, in our opinion, strongest array of legal background and experience. And so one of the things that we're prepared to do and we continue to do, in addition to handling legal matters, which every lawyer would do to a very large extent, is to continue to help to develop ourselves and to help to develop others. And also focus on one of the new areas we've added this year is to assist lawyers in coaching them, in getting their practice to the next level, based on our own experience and based on the best practice as well. So that's us in a nutshell. And basically, with respect to myself, I am the managing partner of Topmarké Attorneys. And we have multiple offices in Canada, like I said, and we also have an office in Nigeria, in Lagos to be precise. I'm a graduate of the University of Ibadan, so if there's anyone from UI there, University of Ibadan in Nigeria, shout out to you. And of course, the Nigerian Law School. To become a lawyer in Nigeria, you have to be called to the Nigerian bar. I also attended City University in London, United Kingdom, and have a certificate in there. I studied counseling. And when I came to Canada, as I was deciding whether to practice law at all or not, I decided to start as an immigration consultant, and then I went to Seneca College to study that for 1 year. And I also I'm a graduate of mining law from Osgood Law School in Toronto. And so that's me in a nutshell. So the forest, what we've done here is to put up a picture of what a forest looks like. And you know, we can have different pictures in our mind of what a forest should look like. But this is a typical forest. And so somebody asked me, why will you come up with this title? And the reason is very simple. I had thought about some of the characteristics of a forest, and I wanted to speak to what we go through as lawyers when we come to a new country, when we come to a new environment, when we come to a place that is foreign to us. So I do understand that even though this was put together by Topmarké Attorneys and Nigeria Lawyers, Canada, Nigeria Lawyers in Canada. I wanted to say that I saw some people who had registered for this who were not who are not Nigerians, who are not trained in Nigeria, and who are here. So whatever we discuss here today, whatever we speak to, quite frankly, speak to everyone who had come from a different jurisdiction to practice in Canada. But even beyond that, even those who have no intention of practicing in Canada or who are not even here at all, there might be one or two things you might want to pick that may also be useful for you. For us, even as we speak, we are also learning from ourselves. And so from the questions that you will ask today, we will learn as well. So, so for a forest, when you look at a forest, generally speaking, especially when you talk about tropical forest, evergreen trees, they're always present. And I think about that and I look at this profession and I say to myself that, we have talents, we have a lot of talents out there. We have a lot of opportunities that are ever present in every situation. There's always an opportunity for lawyers. And we should not lose sight of that. Even during this time of COVID-19, there are new opportunities in place for lawyers that people should take advantage of. I also, one of the characteristics of a forest is the presence of organic undergrowth. What you find in a forest is that basically, as you have the trees and those things with huge presence, you also have organic undergrowth. You have things that are also just coming up. It's like that in this profession. As you have people who have heavy presence, you have those who are just coming up, and who will eventually replace them. Either we like it or not. And that's the way things are. That's the way life is. You also have the presence of creepers. Creepers. In this profession. When I was doing agriculture in my secondary school days, many years ago, people would talk about creepers in the positive and the negative way. Creepers also have their positive things. They protect, but at the same time, there's also the negative side to creepers. But when you look at this profession, there are those that will always be there that you see as creepers. You see to you, and quite frankly, when you look at it the other way around as well, these are people that are also putting you on your toes, that are making you to be upright in this profession. Because these are the people, if you're not careful, that could also get into trouble. So vegetal and animal diversity. There's a lot of diversity in the forest. There's a lot of diversity in this business. When you look at this business, there are so many things you can do as a lawyer. If you can think it as a profession, it can also, you can think it that it's a profession for lawyers as well. You name it. You have lawyers in the healthcare field, in the financial field, in litigation, administration, counseling, every aspect of life, lawyers are present. So there's a lot of diversity in the legal profession, just like we have in the forest. The root connectivity is very important, because when you look at the forest, what you see mostly that we don't think about is the fact that we have trees, we have green trees, we have all this vegetation, we have animals running around, we have all those things. We should never forget that beneath, underground, the roots of those trees are interconnected. They basically connect to one another for stability. And it is very important for us as lawyers to understand that we need each other. We need to connect with one another. We need to connect with our professional colleagues so that we can be stable. Because at the end of the day, if you are standing alone, it is easy for you to be blown away. Think about the forest. If a tree is standing away alone by itself and it's not connected on the ground to other trees, he will be blown away. And so it is extremely important for us to understand that we need to be connected and work together and be a part of each other's professional development. And the importance of all this is for us to understand that when we decide to go into this business, and when you decide to leave your country and come to Canada to practice, you have to be, it's more like you're going into a forest. So you have to be prepared that at the end of the day, there will be challenges, there will be things that you'll be ready to confront and deal with. Okay, so that's that. So the next slide is my own journey. My own journey through the forest. So I will share this for about 5 minutes. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because we need to learn from each other. We need to learn from the mistakes that we have made, that we made at some point, and our successes and how we overcame things. We also need to understand, sometimes that we are not alone when we are going through situations. And when we go through this journey in life, sometimes a quick decision can make all the difference. Again, I came from a family whereby we're not hungry. I have to say that we were good, but not financially up there. And but we were contented with what we had. Single mom that trained 4 of us on a salary of in those days in Nigeria they called them grade 3 nurse, on a salary of a grade 3 nurse, and who will always say that to us that education is all you need to make it in life, nothing else. And it's not about the houses, it's not about the cars, it's not about all those things. I remember my mom selling the only piece of land that she had bought just to send us to school. She said, "You guys will build a house for me when you become whatever you want to become." And so that is the background. So now going through that background, part of the struggle was in those days. During my own time, things are a bit different now. You know, we have the internet, we have so many things that people can actually use to guide themselves. In those days, you had to basically rely on family members, uncles, and friends to guide you. And if you are not careful, you'll be guided wrongly. And for me, I was just going to school. I was just studying. There was really nobody. I don't recall anyone sitting me down and saying, "Okay, so what do you want to become? You want to become this and that kind of thing." So I was just going to school. And so through that, sometimes, I would make decisions based on what I thought was right or what my friends were doing. And going through that process, the first thing that happened was that I wasn't sure whether I wanted to become a lawyer or a doctor or anything. But becoming a doctor was easy for me to strike out because I was very bad in mathematics. I was very bad in physics. I was very very bad in mathematics. But even despite that, I still did sciences, and I did social sciences. It was a good thing that I did social sciences, and at the end of the day, I did very well in my high school in social sciences. I did very poorly in the sciences. And the social sciences wherein I did very well, I went to A-levels and did physics, not physics, I did economics and political science and geography. And when I finished that and I did extremely well, at that point I still did not know what to do. And I filled the form to enter university, and I put economics. And I got admission to study economics at, some of you might be from that University of Jos. And then when I got the admission, I looked at it and I was going to pay and start. And then my uncle said to me, you know, you will have to do some mathematics in economics, right? And I said, no. He said, yeah, you will. And I said, well, I don't want to go then. If it had anything to do with mathematics, forget it. And that was it. So I declined the admission. Instead of that, I went to work at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, as a research assistant for 1 year. So I stayed at home basically for 1 year because I just did not want to go study economics. I was staying away from mathematics. And then, well, the next year, I was talking to one of my friends. I went to a town to see one of my friends, small town called Oyo, and his father was a lawyer. And this my friend is a judge now. And I liked the father. And I said, oh, your father is a lawyer. Maybe I should just become a lawyer. And that was it. So I filled the form and I put Ibadan law, and I was admitted. That is my own journey. So my journey was not about somebody sitting down and saying, this is what you should go do. But some of us are lucky, and we should never take that for granted. But even those that were not that lucky to have people to hold our hands, you should never let that be something that will hold you back. You know, so basically, when I finished law school, and I soon after, practicing NYC and stuff like that, I traveled to the UK. And when I got to the UK, my thought was I would get to the UK and I would start practicing law. I would do the exams and start practicing. No, it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be because I had no status. What I had was a 6 months visiting visa, which would allow me just to visit and go back. Of course, I did not want to go back. And so I stayed in the UK and I started working. I regularized my stay. I got 2-year work permit at that point for Commonwealth work permit, which allowed me to work for 2 years. But because of the pressure at home, trying to send money home, try to help people at home, family members, and that kind of thing, I wasn't even thinking about writing the exams at that point. But moreover, for you to even practice law in the UK and many countries, you have to have residency status, which I did not have. So I wasn't even looking at it at all. So I went into work. And the kind of work I got, based on the people I related with at that point that I stayed with, who were wonderful people and helped me out. The kind of work I got was to basically start, cleaning. That was the main job I got. And the first job I got was for 1 day only. I've told this story before, was to work in a restaurant. And in the restaurant, because I did not even understand the accent of the people that were making orders, I was fired. And so I lost the job. So I picked up the job of cleaning. But cleaning in the morning was not even, I wasn't making enough money. So I had to add another cleaning at night. So I had 2 jobs, cleaning full time. And basically, that was my journey. And I did this for years. Then I got another job working. I moved. I upgraded. How did I upgrade? I became a security officer. And so that was paying me like extra £1 per hour. So I had to go for it. So instead of making £2.50 an hour, I was now making £3.50 an hour. And that was the journey. And I was doing this 18 hours a day, and I was settled into it, and that was my new life. And because of my situation at that point, and I was settled into it until my wife today, who was my girlfriend then, came and said, you have to change, you have to move up. And I said, but I have no status. And she said, well, let's do something. That was how I got enrolled at City University. That was how I trained for 6 months only, become a counselor. And from that, I got a job as a social worker. And when I got this job as a social worker, I worked for 1 year. And then I saw an advert about Canada immigration. And I applied to come to Canada based on that 1 year experience as a social worker. Now, let me put a timeline at it. At this time, I had lost 8 years of my practice life as a lawyer. I had worked as a cleaner. I had worked as a security officer and as a social worker for 1 year. So for 7 years, I was a cleaner and security officer because I had no status at that point. But to some, this was enough for some people to sink professionally. This was enough for some people to give up. For me, it wasn't, because I knew that I needed to go through that forest. I needed to go through that battle. So for whatever you are going through today, for whatever the situation might be, you are in a new country in Canada, you are saying to yourself, I don't know if I can do it. Yes, you can, and you will. Just put your mind to it and have the right people around you. So I basically relocated to Canada after getting my status based on that 1 year experience. So for you, it might be that 6 months training. It might be that 2 months training, 3 months training, 1 year training that might change your life. So a 6 months training basically changed my life. When I came here and I started practicing as a social worker, working with the homeless people, mentally sick, as a social worker, then I started my journey in getting back into the legal practice. Then I started my law firm, went to school to study immigration law, started my firm as a consultant, then gradually wrote my NCA exams, and then became a lawyer. So for close to 20 years now or so, I've been practicing here in Toronto as a lawyer. And basically, this is the thing that we all need to put our mind to. If you want to do it, you can do it, and you will do it. So I know there are struggles. I know the wake-up call in the morning. I know decisions, all those kind of stuff is not easy, but you can do it. That's my own journey through the forest, and gradually, you know, we built this firm with the assistance and help and support of others, my partners, Kemi Oduwole and Akinreju, and our lawyers and associates and staff. Everyone had been supported. When you have the right people around you, you cannot but succeed. And there are some challenges right now that some of us are looking at and saying, oh my God, what's going on? We have COVID-19, we have businesses that are closing, people are losing their jobs, operations of some businesses are reduced, demand and supply is affected. There are traveling restrictions. I mean, for those of us who are in the immigration law business, for instance, people cannot even come to the country. You know, there are restrictions. Immigration law is affected. Many other areas of law is affected. And people are saying that recession is possible. So these are the things that we need to put our mind at, and we can look at it and say, oh my God, what's going on? But then don't look at the glass as being half empty. Look at the glass as being half full. Think about the opportunities. IT law. Here we are today. We're having some training, some sessions, some discussion via the internet. Who would have thought about this? It was there before, but nobody was really paying attention. So you have an opportunity as lawyers, as young lawyers, as established lawyers, to look at some of the new things that you can do. Online training and consulting. You can get that. You can get going on that. You can start consulting with law firms. You can get consulting with other people. You can, tax law, people are talking about how will this affect the COVID-19 right now? How will it affect my taxes? The big companies, the big corporations are talking about it. So for people that are specialized, that will specialize in, or that specialize in tax law, for instance, there are opportunities. E-commerce law, it has an opportunity, there's an opportunity there, you know, because e-commerce will boom, you know, after this. So we need to look at it. Health law, including mental health. Mental health is a big issue right now because people are going through so much, and there's always an opportunity in health law and mental health law. Employment law, people have lost their jobs, and they are asking questions. Is it right for me to lose my job right now or not? What can be done? What are the remedies in place, the legal remedies? So think about that and think about the opportunities that are in the robotics engineering and artificial intelligence. People are now coming up, people are saying, I was listening to one of my friends the other day who was saying that at some point, because of the COVID-19, because of some concerns that people might have, there will be a lot of developments of robots that might be doing some work. That don't be surprised if you have a knock on your door and your pizza is being delivered by a robot. And but the opportunities for lawyers there is to be able to work with companies coming up with all this, because there will be agreements, there will be so many things that will have to be put in place. And of course, litigation is also an issue. There will be a lot of litigation. So look at the opportunities for you post-COVID-19. There are many challenges when you come to a new country like this to practice, and examinations is Moyosore spoke about that eloquently, about going through the process of writing your exams and all those. And I also failed. So Moyo, you are not alone. When I did my NCA, I do believe it was an administrative law, and when I sat for that, I think I had about four questions to answer, if I recall correctly, and they were so simple, and I just got into it. And the next thing I had was, you have 5 minutes to finish, and I was on question 2. And at that point, I just said to myself, there's no point. I'll have to pay another 500 naira, and $500, and receive this SR. And so I did. Next time I learned, it taught me one thing: time management. So it's not about whether you know the stuff or not, but time management. Examinations, you have to be prepared to do that and have the support in place, friends and family members who understand at that point that they need to give you your space to be able to write your exams and pass. Opportunities. The opportunities are not generally there for lawyers when they first come in, because for some reason, and many employers will basically say, you know what, you don't have Canadian experience, I don't want to hire you, and that kind of thing. So the lack of opportunities is an issue. I remember, I think I wrote over 200 applications when I came to Canada to work as a law clerk in a law firm at that point. Only one person called me, and I think I met with him for like 5 minutes. He just said, "Oh, sorry, no, it's not gonna happen. So good luck." But you don't give up. Keep trying. Finance, even though it's $300 per exam, some people cannot afford it. It's still a lot of money. Setting up law firms is not that cheap if you want to put all the right things in place. So finance can be a barrier. Language is always an issue to some, and sometimes it's not. When I say language, it's not about not being able to speak the language. Sometimes it's about the nuances and the little things here and there that people might not necessarily understand when you come to a new country. Again, I've told the story of myself, struggling to understand the accents of some people when I was in England, Irish accent and some of those accents. So it took me some time to settle into that. So if you're going to practice in this environment, you have to really know how to understand the language and how to express yourself as well. Because sometimes, the way we express ourselves can also be a barrier, can be a problem. When you go to court, for instance, and you are speaking, and you're speaking in such a way that it will seem like as if you are fighting a battle. You have to settle down. You have to listen to yourself. You have to calm down and express yourself very well in a calming way, in a way that will understand and respect you as well, because that's important. So support, you need the support. Sometimes the support is not there. So you need somebody that can support you. You need a coach, you need mentors, you need to have people around you that you can always speak to. Family, some people came here, they have no family, they have nobody to help them. That could be a challenge. And the experience, I've spoken about that, not having Canadian experience, and health problem. Some are struggling with their health as well. That is a challenge. with respect to tips to help you navigate the forest. Effective communication is very important when you start practicing in this part of the world. You have to be effective. And when I talk about effective communication, you need to understand that you're not just talking about yourself. You are talking about being effective when you communicate with your client, being effective when you communicate with the court, being effective when you communicate with your colleagues, even in the office, and opposing counsels. Extremely important to know how to communicate orally, in writing, and the delivery is also a good thing for us to learn. The last presentation I had some time ago, I gave the example of when I came to Canada as a social worker, and I wrote a beautiful report about the work I just did. And I gave it to my supervisor, and she looked at it and she smiled. And she basically said to me, Johnson, this is great, but I know you have a degree in law, but I have too many big grammars here. And so the question I wanted to ask you is, if your client were to read this, will he understand what you have written? And I said, no. And then she said, then you are not communicating. You know your client. You should be able to write in simple English. To every big word, there's a small word. And when you speak in small word, you are basically communicating better. You can reach more people that way. And so this is important for us to keep in mind. You are not, as far as I'm concerned, you are not winning any battles when you write something and your client cannot understand it. When you communicate with the court, it's extremely important as well to be clear and to do your research and make your argument very, very, very sensible and clear. And when you deliver in court as well, deliver with, I mean, it's not everyone that is an orator. That's not the point, but you are very clear in what you are saying. You are calm, and you want people to understand you. One thing I do is that when I feel rushed in talking, when I get to court, I take a deep breath, without anyone knowing, then I reset myself. So it's always very important to be able to do that. And as young lawyers or as new lawyers in an environment, also always be careful of lawyers at the other side when you're communicating with them. Be very careful what you say, what you write, because remember that in this jurisdiction, what you write might get you into trouble professionally, the way you write it. So read whatever you've written like 2-3 times before you send them out, because people might pick from that, okay? And this is one of the reasons why you need to have a buddy system. You have someone that you can say, can you check this out for me? Does it make sense? Is this okay? Am I getting myself into trouble writing this way? So be careful. If you have to, and I think I would recommend it, go for training in effective communication as soon as you start practicing, or even before you start practicing. Excellent client service. We are not doing clients a favor. The clients are actually doing us a favor, to be honest. So always put your clients put yourself in the shoes of the clients and do your best to provide the best of service that you will want anyone to provide to you. It's extremely important. Return calls on time, respond to emails on time, follow with your clients, and make sure that the work is done when it is supposed to be done. If you're going to be late in delivering the work that you're hired to do, then communicate that with your client and let your client know the reasons and what is going on. Know yourself. It's very important for us to know ourselves. Focus on your strengths in this business. If you're the type that, if you know that, hey, I don't like going to court, I don't like litigation, then don't force yourself into that. So know yourself and speak to that in actualizing your dreams. Take some steps towards that. It's very important. If you know that you're extremely good in accounting and all those things, yes, tax law, all those things might be useful for you. But if you know that, hey, you know, I don't like some of those things. I don't want to go into tax law. Then why should I go into tax law? You know, of course, you can build yourself and develop yourself into some areas that you might not necessarily like. But if you want to make things easier on yourself, look at the areas that will fit in with your own strength and focus on it. If you're in a partnership, if you know that you have some shortcomings in some areas, then do not lead the firm in those areas. Ask someone else to step in and lead the firm. If you know that you're not the type that can talk to people and be respectful of people when you talk to them, then don't be the face of the business. Don't go in and be the one that will communicate with clients, because you are hurting not just yourself, your professional career, you are also hurting the firm. So, you know, use your firm or other people to do A, B, C, D for you. Get a mentor, a practice coach. Have someone that you can always call, that can always, because we don't know it all. You know, one of the problems that we might have in life as professionals is if we think we know it all, and as a result that we don't need anybody. We need people. We need to support one another. So have a practice coach, have someone to come into your firm and say, can you take a look, you know, what can I do better? And live by the rules of professional obligations. It's very, very important for lawyers to be familiar with the rules of professional obligations. And, you know, because in this part of the world, it's different. We have to understand that it is different. You know, the law societies are active, you know, and they will basically come after you if you do something wrong. So as lawyers, be professional and do the right thing. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Part of your investment is being here today, because every little thing we talk about someday might be useful, even to me, as I'm listening to myself, as I had listened to Muyosori and others. So we need to keep investing in ourselves. Sometimes you can get free training somewhere. One of the things that we will probably be doing in this law firm very soon is to have a portal whereby we will bring young lawyers and old lawyers together, and we can discuss. We can keep, you know, sharpening each other professionally, and focus on actualizing your dreams, your potentials, because sometimes we can be drifted. Different reasons for different things, we might be drifted, but if we just stay focused, you'll be okay. You know, the beginning might be a bit rough. You know, I remember when I started my practice as an immigration consultant in 1998. That was March 1998, and the first 3 months I had no client, not one client. You know, it was tough, not one. And I was advertising and I was doing everything, and nobody called, nobody emailed, nobody responded. And at that time, I had it as a side business. At the same time, I had a full-time job as a social worker. So I was combining both. And so one night, I checked my computer, and one email came, and I want to hire you for permanent residency in Canada. And the email came from Nigeria. And quickly I responded. I was running all over the place. I said, oh my God, finally. But the good news is that through that one individual, he referred my first 10 clients, and he kept referring people to me. He's one of my best friends in Toronto, and in Canada today. He's not in Toronto. An elderly gentleman. But what am I saying is that just keep at it, just keep doing it, and you will be okay. Don't give up on yourself. Sometimes we basically we give up easily because we feel that the issues that we are facing would not get better. So I just want to again continue to encourage us to keep working, embrace work-life balance, try to balance things out. Some of us, I can tell you that I put myself to work so much that I felt at some point I did not even think about the other side, which was health and all those things, which now I'm conscious of. But what I'm saying is that you have to be conscious of that. For some people, it is okay for them to have a practice and keep going 18 hours a day, 15 hours a day. Some cannot handle it. And you don't have to be like the Joneses. Some will just be okay working in the place, getting paid, not a lot of money, but finishing at 5 o'clock, going home, spending the weekend with their family. They're good. So, just know yourself and embrace work-life balance. Your practice options in Canada or everywhere in the world, you have so many options. You can be a sole practitioner. You can work in a group whereby you are still a sole practitioner, but working within a group. You can work in a partnership and all those. So there are many options out there. I have always been, I've done everything. I've been a sole practitioner. I've worked with a group of lawyers. I've been in partnership multiple times. And for me, and this is me, my preference had always been partnership because I realized that as a sole practitioner, I had no life. I had no life. If I had to travel, I still had to be there for my clients. If there are problems, I had to run back and that kind of thing. But with partnership, for me, if you have the right partners, that's very important. If you have the right partners, you can take a break. People can step in on your behalf and do things, and the work-life balance can be achieved better. But for people thinking about partnership, you also have to think about having the right partner, because if you have a wrong partner, it's not good. It is not good at all. So you have to look at compatibility. You have to look at so many things. One of these days, we're going to do a talk on the practice options, wherever we can really go in depth into this. But if people have questions about that today, briefly, we can also address that. Always pay attention to details, little things here and there. As you can tell, at the beginning of this session, we had COVID-18 instead of COVID-19. These are little things that should not happen, because I critique myself often. And it's always a good thing for lawyers to critique themselves in a way that will make you better. And that is why we have multiple people in my own office that will send things to and say, check this out, that kind of thing. So it is extremely important for you as a lawyer to pay attention to details, because a missing comma here, a missing full stop here might make a hell of a difference to what you are trying to say, to achieve. Have confidence in yourself. It's very, very, very important, particularly in this part of the world, for you to have confidence in yourself. We tell our clients basically that, look, when you are in court, and you're being asked questions, have confidence in yourself, in what you're saying, and pay attention to the judge or to the member and look straight in the eye. And but if you are the counsel and then you can't even face the member or the judge, then some people might read, and it might be a cultural issue. We all know that, that it might be a cultural issue, but some people can misread that to say, oh, the lawyer does not have confidence in himself or herself. So, you have confidence in yourself, talk about it. One of the things that some firms would do from time to time is to have mock trials. In their offices, they put mock trials together to help people who have no confidence or with low esteem to get up there. So these are all things that you can always get involved with and put in place. Confidence is extremely important because it means everything. Your client might say, oh, my lawyer did not even have confidence, so that was why I lost my case. I mean, I've told the story of my first time of appearing before the federal court here, some other forum, whereby as I entered the court, I consider myself as a very confident person. And but being my first time, as I entered that place, I felt some kind of butterfly in my stomach. And but what I did was just to say to the judge, and I said, Mr. Justice, my name is Johnson Babalola, and this is my first time of appearing in federal court in Canada. And I feel some butterfly. And I told the judge that I still remember the judge till today, he's still sitting at the federal court, and basically looked at me and said, you know what, I was there before, and I understand what you're going through, so just go for it. And I went for it, and everything was okay, and was successful. And that boosted my confidence even more. But talk about it with the right people, not with people that will put you down. Because sometimes when you talk to the wrong person about some of the challenges you are having, in the course of being honest about it, some can use it against you. So you have to weigh who are the people that you can talk to about things like this. Embrace technology. Very important, like we are doing now. Invest in technology that will make your life easier, embrace social media. But be careful as you embrace social media as well, because you're also exposing yourself. Things that you might say that might be wrongly interpreted, and all those things might also get you into trouble. So you want to weigh it very well. You want to be careful what you post on the internet, what you say on the internet, and how you project yourself on the internet. Because remember, you are not just the only one saying this. There are thousands and possibly millions of people who are saying what you had posted. So, but it is a way of also basically marketing yourself. I know that in Nigeria, lawyers are not allowed to advertise. Here in Canada, we can. That's one of the major differences between the way we practice. But either way, if you want to have a presence on the internet, be careful. Watch out for opportunities. Always watch out for opportunities. Changes in law and all those things that you may say, oh my God, that's another opportunity for me. My law firm can look into that and, get into that area of business. Have integrity. Integrity is always important. Always own up to your own mistakes. Seek for help when you need it. And respect others. At the end of the day, I always say one thing. Everyone that had gone through law schools and has been called to the bar is qualified to be a lawyer. Is a lawyer. And so respect others. Respect their opinions. And, seek for help when needed. Don't say, you know what, I have to be the only one that will crack this. Again, about owning your mistakes, I will just speak to one issue quickly here that, again, I have spoken about that on another platform, whereby I had basically misdiagnosed a case that was to have at the federal court some years back. So instead of having this case on Monday, I had put it in my schedule for Tuesday. And I had another case on Monday. So I was in another court, basically in another hearing. And I did not know that the federal court was waiting for me for another case that was scheduled for the same time. So basically, I finished my case at court, let's say for the sake of this discussion, at courtroom A. And then B was waiting for me. I had no idea. So as I left the court, finished, and I turned on my phone, I saw tons of text messages saying to me that the federal court was calling you because the judge was seated and waiting for you to show up. And at that point, I realized that I made a mistake. So when I got to my office, so I wrote basically to the federal court apologizing and explaining what had happened. I made a mistake. And so I didn't hear back from federal court. Couple of days later or so, I went before the federal court, before a different judge. And as I entered, the judge said to me, Mr. Babalola, you did not show up before Justice ABC did the last time. And so the first thing in my head was that, okay, everybody knows. So I said, Mr. Justice, again, just to digress a little bit, when I first started appearing for federal court in Canada, I would say, my Lord. That was what we were taught in Nigeria. And I had to be cautioned like 2-3 times. The first two, in a very nice way, different judges. The last one, the judge was not very happy with me. He was, I am not your Lord, that kind of a thing. So, just watch out for those little things. So said, the first two were, they were like, oh, you must have trained in the UK or Nigeria or somewhere like that. I said, yeah. So, oh, yeah, we did away with calling people your Lord many times, even though some people still say it, but, it's something that we don't want people to say. So just call me Mr. Justice or Madam Justice, that would be fine. Anyways, moving back. So I said, Mr. Justice, I had no idea that you would know. So yeah, who would know? We talk about people, and I said, if I were you, I would apologize to that justice personally. And I said, I would. So a week later, I appeared at the federal court. Bingo, the same justice that I did not appear before was the one I was appearing before now. So the interesting thing was that he did not even say anything about the fact that I did not appear before her, the other case. And by the way, that case, even though I did not appear before her, she went ahead with the hearing, and we won the case based on our written submission. Even though the other party was there, but we still won the case. But that was not the point. The point was that when I now appeared before her, she said, okay, let's start this hearing for today. And they called the case, and I stepped out to speak. And I said, Madam Justice, I don't want to start this case yet until I do something that I believe is right. And she said to me, what is that, Mr. Valola? I said, well, a couple of weeks ago, I did not appear before you for ABC reason. I know I wrote to the court to apologize, but I think it's just the right thing for me to stand here having this opportunity to apologize to you that this is what happened, but there should be no excuse. As a lawyer of many years experience, I should be able to not make that mistake of misdirecting my hearing dates. And beyond that, I also want to let you know, if it might help, that it's never happened to me before in my many years of practice. And I do promise, I cannot promise that it will never happen again, but I promise that I will take caution and be very careful in future. But my history will show that this had never happened. And having said that, I do apologize to Madam Justice, and I do apologize to my friend at the other side, the Minister's Counsel, even though this was not the counsel that came the last time, but I'm sending a message through this counsel here to the other counsel that I do apologize for that. And then she looked at me, she said, how about the court clerks? And I said, oh, my apology. To the court clerk, to the registrar, I'm sorry, I apologize. And then after that, she looked at me and said, you're a very smart man. You're a smart man, not because of your intellect, but because you understand a basic thing in this practice, that in the practice of law, in this country and anywhere in the world, all you have is your integrity, your name, your integrity. That's all. You have nothing else. You might be a bad lawyer, but if you have integrity, if you have a good name, you will be okay. You might be a good lawyer, but if you don't have integrity, you don't have a good name, you might not be okay. So it's very important for us to understand that, we need to have integrity. Our clients must trust us with all we do in this country and everywhere. The court must trust us with what we do, that the file from this firm can be trusted. Because the moment you have a name that people say, who is the lawyer? This person, you can't trust. Once they start saying that in the judicial system, then you'll be in trouble. So have integrity. It's very important. Have integrity with your clients as well. It's very important. Even with the other side, opposing counsel, your integrity will help you sometimes when you are negotiating settlements and stuff like that. So it's extremely important for us as counsel to have integrity. And the importance of having integrity cannot be overemphasized in the sense that when you start practicing and people look at you and you might think they are not watching you, you'll be surprised what they will say when you are not there. Now, this is my last slide, I believe, and make sure that when you start practicing, you have what they call a key person insurance, meaning that the people that hold the firm, there is insurance in place for them. You know, because that's important. I'm not an insurance person, but this is something that people should put in mind. Make sure you have contingency planning just in case you are not available to handle a file and that kind of thing. Somebody steps in to assist to make sure that there's continuity. Succession planning as well. You will note that some of you here on this platform will count some law firms that you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that people used to know about when the owner was alive. You will understand that you know, quite often when the owner dies, you don't hear much about the law firms again. You know, it's always good for lawyers to have succession planning in place. And you know, when you see some law firms that have been in existence for 100 years, 150 years, the people that started that firm, they were long gone, and but the firm is still standing. It's very important to have that in mind when you are setting up your law firm or when you are joining a law firm as well. Career progression. Again, if you are going to progress within your firm, or you know, in this business, always have, think about loyalty. It's very important. Make sure you are relevant to your law firm, because if at the end of the day, every time you're thinking about things, you are not, you know, you are not relevant to the existence of the firm, to progress within the firm will be difficult. If the firm, they feel that you are not loyal to the cause of the firm and what they stand for and everything, it will be difficult to progress. If they believe that you are not adding any skills to all they're doing in the firm, you're not coming up with ideas, and it's really no skill that you are adding, it will be difficult for you to make a case for career progression. Okay, are you saving them costs? These are all things that you need to put in perspective and think about, whether you're working now, whether you have a business of your own, or whether it doesn't matter. All these things are extremely very important. Your outlook is very important. How you look, you know, some people, unfortunately, that's the way it is. Some people will make their decision based on, you know, your appearance, your office environment. And when I say here, let me put this way. When I was at a law school many years ago, and I was doing my article, the 3-month attachment, we call it in Nigeria, law school attachment. I was with Chief Toye Koko, senior advocate of Nigeria, who is of blessed memory now. When we were done, he called us, about 3, 4 of us, and said to us, you guys are brilliant. You know what you should know when it comes to the practice of law. But that's not all you need to be successful. Because your appearance matters. So if you're going to wear a white, simple things, but very important. If your shirt is white, let it be white, not greenish, dirty, all that kind of stuff. If people come to your office, they don't see files thrown everywhere, that your office is disheveled, so to say. And then your transportation, if you are using a taxi, take a taxi that will not break down on the way. So those are the things that he told me some 31 years ago, I still remember. Marketing yourself, continue to write, do pro bono works, grant interviews, and finally, every day, at the end of the day, when you finish work, when you're on your way home, or when you are going to work in the morning, always do a self-check. Always, as you are driving, as you are in an Uber, or as you're in a taxi, wherever or wherever, always do a self-check. Ask yourself, who am I? Am I doing the right thing? Am I relevant to what I'm doing and to the people I work with? Am I loyal? Do I have the skills to progress in this business? And if the people I had met today or yesterday were to see me again, what would they think about me? Would they even remember me? Did I deposit something into the life of those, the lives of those individuals I had met that would make them to remember me? It's very important for us to think about this as lawyers. There's a reason why lawyer A is doing well and lawyer B might be struggling. Sometimes, again, it's not about the knowledge. Sometimes it's about your integrity, your attitude, the way you carry yourself, all those little things. Do you care? You can still be an effective lawyer and still be very good in what you do and still be caring. So self-check on a daily basis is very, very important. And I urge you guys to follow us. There will be more of this. You can always follow us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Sometime by the middle of June, there will be a lot of, we'll put a lot of our recordings, our training recordings on our YouTube channel for people to go there and just listen. And you can follow us through that. So you can, that's that. And then I also urge you to follow the Niger lawyers in Canada, because it's very important for us to support them. They are doing a fantastic job. And I want you to follow them as well. I have an issue with this. I'm almost done. So it's very important for us to follow them, and that's there. Yes, I got it. So Niger lawyers in Canada, please follow them. They're on Facebook, and basically because others had gone through that process, you will learn one or two things from them. And I'm glad that they partner with us to do this, and I'm sure that we'll do more things together in the near future to help each other. So finally, just remember, going back to the forest thing, just remember that a tree does not make a forest. It's an African proverb that is very profound, extremely profound, because at the end of the day, we need each other. We need you. You need us. We need one another to get to the top. And it is my hope that at the end of this session today, all of us will find a way to come together and continue to lift each other up and hold each other's hands. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babalola, for all the tips that you've given us today. If we have to look into all the issues that can be raised in the licensing journey, I'm sure it is not something that we can cover in 2 hours. We're a bit out of time, but I'll just quickly take some of the tips that you mentioned. The one I'll take from the last one is don't walk alone. Again, from my personal experience, also from following Niger lawyer in Canada, I've learned that you should never walk alone, because you don't know where the articling experience is going to come from. You don't know where the next job is going to come from. You cannot afford to walk alone. A tree does not make a forest, and that is so true. And I would want to say this before we go on a very short 5 minutes break, before we take your questions and answers, that the greatest story ever told is yours, and that you are the one who would write that story. And the story starts from now. It's not tomorrow, it's right now. So we'll just go on that short 5 minutes break, and we'll be back to take, if you still want to post your questions, you can do so. We'll take all the questions that are in the chat box, and we thank you for your patience and your participation. We'll be back shortly. Thank you. Ms. Moyoshere Sadiq has a few things to share with you just before we take the questions and take your questions. So she has the floor now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babalola, for all you shared. That's very inspiring. I really learned a lot from that journey. And it really just shows the perseverance, which is something that many people are struggling with. It's a very tough journey, and just don't give up. And also the part where you said, I'm not alone with failing. That's something that a lot of people are finding hard to manage, especially when you've grown up in maybe grown up never failing. You've never failed exams and you come and you see fail for NCA. It's really hard on some people. But knowing that others go through it, you know that you're not alone. So if you fail, don't feel devastated. Just try to find out what your issue was and work on it. So I just wanted to talk about this slide which I missed. So another thing Nigerian lawyer in Canada does is we reach out to foreign trained lawyers that have become licensed in Canada to share their stories. And one major question that I always look forward to seeing the answer is what would you do differently? In your journey, in your licensing journey, what would you do differently? That's one part of the features that I learn a lot from. These are some of the people that have been featured. And sometimes we also organize the Q&A session on Telegram or WhatsApp, where we bring some of the people that have gotten licensed here to come and talk on different areas. Sometimes it may be corporate law, it may be immigration law, and they spare 1 hour or 1.5 hours to answer the questions in the WhatsApp and Telegram groups. And this is also the mentoring sessions that we usually have during summer. We may not be able to hold it now, and that's the reason we're doing this online right now, because of COVID-19. And there's Telegram groups available, there's WhatsApp groups available, there's ITL network on Instagram too. So just reach out to us, send us a DM if you are in the process, and we would let you know whether you're supposed to join the pre-assessment group, the post-NCA assessment group, the articling group, just depending on your status. Thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sadiq. So we'll go into the questions, dive into the questions right away. And the very first one I have here is from Ikeja. And Shai is asking what criteria is used before one can be exempted from the articling process.
Okay, so it depends on the province again. So I'm going to be talking about Ontario, which is where I really know. So for LSO has stipulated some things that make you eligible to get exempted from articling. And they stated outrightly that you have to have a minimum of 10 months of legal experience in a common law country. So for Nigerians, we're common law countries, you know, we use precedents and things like that. We don't do civil law. You would have to prove to them that you actually practiced, and you have to send an application form. The application is like a letter from yourself explaining to LSO, explaining to them why you think you deserve the exemption. You have to explain how you meet the criteria that have been listed. Some criteria like legal practice criteria, advocacy, ethics, and there's a long list there. So you just have to explain situations or explain how you meet it. Oh, I was an advocate in Ministry of Justice for so number of months, where I advocated or I represented the state as crown, or this, you know, something like that. You have to explain it to them. Then you also have to get a reference. You could send 2 references, but they said at least a reference. It could be from a judge, a justice, or anybody that can reassure them as to the experience you said you had. So maybe someone you worked with, maybe your boss or colleague from your past experience, and you'll also pay a fee. And they would look at all those and decide whether they're going to give you exemption or not. And once they give you the exemption, you would have to do a PCPO. That's it's a 3-day class where they teach you more of ethics, more of professional responsibility, so that you are up to par as to what they really require in Ontario. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much again. Another question for you. This one says it's from T. I think it's a lab. Is an articling waiver advisable where one qualifies, or is it advised to do an abridged articling at the very minimum?
Well, that's going to depend on the individual. So like Mr. Babalala said, in many ways, it depends on you, your confidence, what you feel like do you need the extra internship. There's nothing wrong with getting through learning the Canadian way of practice, because as much as we're common law, there's still a lot of procedural differences, and you can learn that when you article. You can also learn it volunteering. You know, there are many other things you could do. You could learn it volunteering. You could learn it being a legal assistant. You could learn it being a paralegal. But articling makes you, as an articling student, you're under the PR, you are technically like a lawyer too. So you can go to the court to represent your principal. So it just depends on you. If you feel like you need that extra experience before you get into practice, sole or working under somebody, then you should do it. If you could also decide that, okay, I don't need 10 months. I think I'm going to be able to grasp everything in 5 months or in 3 months. It just depends on your personal conviction with yourself. Some people decide to do the paralegal courses, which is a 1-year course in Ontario. And they do a 1-month internship and they write the P1 and they're out there as licensed paralegals that can do some things that lawyers can do, but with a lesser monetary jurisdiction. So some people do that and feel like, oh, since I already know the procedures by going to school for 1 year, I may not need to get the articling experience. So it just depends on your situation. If you read the features on Niger Lawyer in Canada, you would see some people saying that they wouldn't change the fact that they didn't get that they did get exemption, and you will see someone else say, I wish I got an articling position. So it just depends.
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Babala should also give his thoughts on this question. He says, is an articling waiver advisable where one qualifies, or is it advised to do an abridged articling at the very minimum?
I mean, what am I going to add to an excellent response? You know, Moyo took care of that excellently. I did not article. I wrote my exams with a few friends, but there was a particular very close friend that, sorry, if you know me, you know I like telling stories. So basically, I decided not to article. He decided to article for 3 months. And we were called the same time. We went to university together in Nigeria, practically same kind of legal experiences. We both lived in the UK for many years, working as security officer and that kind of thing. But he said, I needed this. I said, I did not need it. And here's the difference. When I came here, I established my immigration law firm at that time as a consultant. And I went back to school and studied immigration for 1 year. And I had an office within other lawyers. So I had been doing stuff with lawyers in Canada for years. So when I was called, for me, frankly, there was really no need for me to article. But for him, because he did not do all those, he felt that I needed to go to an office and be there for like 3 months, which he did, and then started practicing. So again, know yourself. Do not rush into saying, I have to be on my own, I have to practice. You can get the exemption, but find somewhere where you can volunteer, where you can. I say to people that when I became a lawyer in Ontario, the first 6 months, most of the work I was doing was pro bono for other lawyers. I just wanted to learn. I just wanted to learn from them, even though I had this background and everything, and people would give me their files and I would work on it for them and that kind of thing. Some would give me some money, some would say, thank you so much. But I was not just building their business, I was building myself. At the end of the day, when I stood on my own and I had my own practice, I had those people I had assisted sending clients to me to work with. So, volunteer, work with other people, and do something that works for you, okay? So that's it.
Great, so do something that works for you. That's the answer. Know yourself very well. Another question for you, Mr. Dick. It says, this is from Omi, maybe I should just keep the names. As an in-house counsel in Nigeria, do I have to write the NCA and bar exams to work in-house or legal department of a company in Canada?
Okay, so that also depends. Working in-house is totally different from working as an in-house counsel. So I do know some people that have gotten jobs in-house, but not as an in-house counsel. And they're able to do it while they are doing the NCA process. And the reason, when I asked one of them once, like, you already have a job in the board, why are you still doing the process? And she said, the difference between how much they are paying me as a non-legal staff and what they would pay me once I get called is huge, and I'm not going to lose that. So it just depends on what you want. So if you're going to be an in-house counsel, you definitely have to be called and be standing in a good position, have good standing in the law society of the place that you're working. So, but if you know you just want to be like anything else in-house, maybe assist the in-house counsel or be an assistant to the in-house counsel, then maybe you don't need to.
Thank you. This one should be from Mr. Babalola. It says here, as a law firm in Canada, would you consider an applicant who has applied for abridgment of articling as well experienced? Would you consider such a person as well experienced?
Yes, absolutely. We have counsels in our firm who did who basically did not article, and they're fantastic. And again, it's we hire people on not just based on what we believe they know. We also hire people based on potentials. By the time you interact with people during the interview process, and some people will come here and volunteer for some time, and then you check them out. You can tell that this person has the potentials. You see, my experience about life, when I wrote those 200 applications when I came to Canada to work as a legal assistant in a law firm, I look back today and I always say to myself that they lost out, because the fact that I had come from another country, they saw me as someone who would not be able to contribute to the growth of their firm. And so I would not make that mistake with anyone. And the story here is that some years down the road, one of the people that I had applied to when I came to Canada to work, who turned me down to work as an assistant, turned me down, called me to a meeting and said, will you consider me to be your partner? That was some years down the road. So if you have it and you have something to give, please, law firms that know what they are doing will be open to you, whether you articled or you did not, you did a bridge program or not, it doesn't matter. It's all about you.
And there's a similar question here asking if there are any adverse effects in gaining employment if a candidate applies for abridgment of articling.
There may be, and there may be not. The reason why there may be is this: Canadian experience. Some people cherish that a lot. And if I want to talk as an employer, and I don't blame people that say you need Canadian experience, because there are some nuances that some people struggle with. And some are fast learners, some are not. Some can put themselves to work, go on YouTube, go on the internet, learn some things, about Canada and that kind of thing. Take for instance, somebody calls your office, a client calls your office and says, I am at ABCD and I want to get to your office. What is the nearest intersection? And you are green in the country, you are new. And this is a basic example, but it's happened to someone before. And basically, what's the intersection? And this person said, sorry, I'm new in the country, I don't know the intersection. And the employer was furious, And so to some employers, some little things like that, it's not just even about the practice of law per se, but some little things that may contribute to the growth of the business. So if you are the type that basically you can learn fast and all those things, you might not, but here's my caution. If you decide not to article, then go and volunteer somewhere or find a pool of lawyers that you can work with, right? So that way you basically have some experience. They can write letters for you and recommendations and stuff like that. So that is your own way of experience. Canadian experience means nothing if it's not relevant, right, or what you want to do. So if you work in a factory, that's not Canadian experience. So if you think that you are having some challenge, because the truth of the matter is that some people are having challenges even getting a place to article. As I'm talking to you now, I have so many applications, people that want to article. So that's a challenge. If you know that there will be a challenge there, instead of wasting 1, 2, 3 years sitting at home waiting to article, if you are qualified for not to article, basically go for it, but find a way to volunteer in a law firm. Be patient, be patient. Sometimes the problem is that I want to make money right away, that kind of thing. I cannot volunteer. Be patient, volunteer, use that to build yourself and have your own experience that you can use in seeking for employment afterwards.
Excellent response. Again, there's a follow-up question from another person related to the one you just answered. And the question here is, how did you get positions for articling? I think you touched on it a bit during your presentation. And would Nigerian law firms like yours be willing to give articling positions to newcomers?
Yes. How do you get articling positions? You apply. So some law firms take applications like a year earlier. So there's a long list for some law firms, but that does not mean that you should not apply. But apply as early as possible. And when you are applying, it's very important for you to speak to what you will bring to the table in the law firm. You see, we have to understand that as you are sending your application in, there are maybe hundreds, if not thousands of others who are also sending application into the same law firm. So what are you bringing to the table that will make me to consider you, right? You just want to come, fulfill the requirement of your articling, get paid, and walk away, okay? Are you bringing ABC to the table even while you are articling? These are the things that established law firms will look at, okay? And at the end of the day, if you are able to do this, then you should be able to find a place. But that's not to say it's easy. I do understand that it's not easy out there. When it comes to law firms taking on articling students, one of their challenges mostly, having spoken with many of my friends, is space. Many lawyers are just a one-man sole practitioners. And basically, they don't have the space to bring in someone else. The second issue that some of them have is finance. They cannot afford to pay you as an articling student. So these are some of the reasons why it is difficult to have to have positions. But talking about our law firm, we take in articling students from time to time. Again, if the finance is in place, if we have the space, if the time is right, if that person applies at the right time when we need that individual, why not? And we are convinced that this person is bringing in some, some positives, let me put it that way, to the table. So feel free to send in your application to us, other law firms, and you never know. All right?
Great, thank you again. This question here is from Tosin, and it says, what can senior lawyers of Black and even Nigerian origin do to bridge the gap of recognition for new foreign-trained Nigerian lawyers in the legal community in Canada?
We're sorry to answer that first.
It's kind of linked and interrelated with all what Mr. Babalola just said, they looking at it from the perspective of someone that needs articling and looking at it from somebody who wants to give articling but may not be able to give because of space, because of fees. There are different perspectives to it. And what I just feel is that sessions like this help, and Topmarké is already doing it. That's good. Like, we urge other lawyers to please look out for how they can mentor, how they can assist new foreign trained lawyers. I mention it anytime I can. When I started Nigerian Lawyer in Canada, I would send about 100 letters or messages to people. Oh, I see that you're a foreign trained lawyer from Nigeria. Please, would you mind answering this question so that I could inspire people? And I would just get maybe 2 replies. And that doesn't mean that the 88 other people or 98 other people are not interested. Some of them would reply. Some would say, I'm too busy, I'm sorry. Some would answer the questions. But maybe they also have things that they are going through. One has to think of that too. But my point out of that is that as much as possible, if you could be selfless enough to make some time and accommodate the foreign trained lawyers and mentor them, advise them, give them tips. I learned so much. My not making mistakes during my licensing process is because I learned so much from the other people that were willing to share with me. I learned from the people that were like, it's not like Nigerian exam. The time will speed by. If I didn't hear that and I had gone in, I wouldn't have been aware of it and I would make that mistake. Same thing with bar exams. The shall, may, must, all those things. If people don't point it out to you and you're just reading on your own, you may miss it. The way to manage things, the mind maps, all sorts of tips that you get from other people. What would you do differently? These are people that have gotten called, and they many of them, I have to respect a lot of them. They would make the time for you. But also for people that are just about to start the process, I beg you to ask questions that show that you have done your own research. You have to have done that research, know what you are talking about. Then when you get stuck, you can ask. Not that you're asking, oh, how do I become a lawyer in Canada? No, you can't send that kind of message to someone that has the clients to deal with. You have to have done your own work, do your legwork, find out the process. Then when you're stuck and you're like, oh, I saw something called articling, I'm confused about it. Is it compulsory? Ask informed questions to get informed answers. So in that way, if more of the lawyers too can accommodate and maybe put a clause out, if you can't financially pay this articling student, I am willing to give articling positions if you are okay with volunteering, as in not getting a fee. I know many people that are very willing to do that because the articling market is not a joke at all. It's not a joke. It's really hard to find articling. So I know some people don't. The payment for them is learning. The payment for them is getting that experience. So if any lawyer is feeling like, oh, I can't pay them, please still leave that option open. Or are you willing to work for maybe stipends for your transportation when you're going somewhere? Or that's just what I feel.
Okay. Thank you so much. And again, you address it extremely well. But let me take a strike at that through different angles, following upon what Muyosore had said. I think there is also a cultural issue here too. We come from a culture that sometimes we can be. I'm trying to be very politically correct. We can be secretive because I don't want a lot of people to know about me, my challenges, what I'm going through, what the issues are, all those things. That can be an issue sometimes why some people, just maybe a few, will probably not open up. So we need to continue to educate ourselves, senior lawyers, junior lawyers, to give back. And for those who are also being assisted, to understand that at the end of the day, if somebody is opening himself or herself up to you to assist you for you to learn, you don't use that against those individuals in future. Because the reason I'm saying that is that there had been experiences of people that would say, oh, I don't want to get involved with ABC. The last one I did with ABC, at the end of the day, what was the outcome? So it comes down to that when you are helped, when you are assisted through whatever means that people had assisted, always appreciate that. It doesn't matter how the relationship, if the relationship went sour in the future, never forget that at some point that person was there for you. So we tend to forget sometimes, and we shouldn't. The story is about basically someone that living among many people, and they are all starving, they are all hungry. And then someone tells them, here is a bridge here. If you cross this bridge, you get to the other side, there is food there. And then he crosses with his family, and as soon as he gets to the other side, he destroys the bridge so that other people cannot get across. That should not be our story. That shouldn't be our story at all. Our story is to make sure that that bridge is well fortified, but we also make sure that the food at the other side is not, we keep replenishing it so that there will be enough for everybody. Believe me, there is enough for everybody. And so those who are being helped, those who are going through this training, those who are here today on this platform, who are listening to us right now, you also remember that they are asking this question now, so that when they get there, when they get to the top and they're able to help other people, they should not close their eyes to them. They should also help, because again, I'm going to repeat that, we tend to forget. There are 1,000,001 reasons why we will not be able to help each other. Believe me, if we want to look at reasons why I cannot help, there will always be a reason there. But we cannot look at that. We have to say, okay, let me see what I can do to help this person, because the person I'm helping might also help me in future. You never know. The other thing that I also wanted to say is that, the lawyers that are here that are getting through the process, you also be active in joining the Canadian Association of Nigerian Lawyers. It's very important to be a member, a student member, or kind of membership, so that you can have a voice. You can also be able to speak and say, look, this is what we lack. This is what we want from you guys. When you have a relationship with people who are already established, it's easier for them to look, they know you. It's easier for them to look at you and say, I want to bring you into my business. I want you to be a part of this business, right? It's always difficult for someone to just open the door of his office to someone who just walks in that you don't know. So, networking is very important in this business. Try to network and, let people get to know you. And when they know you, make sure they don't forget you, okay? If you meet someone and that individual forgets you after 5 minutes, you have not done a good job. Let that individual in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whenever, you meet again, will say, oh my God, I remember meeting you. You were the one that is the way to grow. That is the way to create that avenue for people to be able to help you. And again, the last point I'm going to make here is this. For Black lawyers, Nigerian lawyers to help others, they need to have the capacity. And believe me, it is always difficult to have that kind of a capacity when you practice alone. Okay? If the focus is the money should come to me by myself, all alone, then it will be difficult to grow others, because you are so busy that you might not even have that. You want to do, you mean well, but you won't have that time. But when you have that capacity, 2, 3, 4, 5 people coming together and setting up a firm, and they're working together so well. Again, it has its downside. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's that easy to get into partnership. But you will have that capacity to be able to help others, to bring them in and train them and grow them. Okay, so capacity is key. And when you have that capacity, you're big, you have the name, you have all those things, then you can also advocate and people will listen to you. Okay, so those will be my points in terms of what to do and how to assist. And just quickly, I just want to mention something. One of the things that people don't talk about often that is also important to state. If you have the money, you have the experience, and there are 2 or 3 of you, or even yourself alone, that you can go eat. You can also buy, you can also buy into a law firm. Okay, it's also something that, people can also consider. You can also buy into a law firm. There are lawyers retiring. They have the files, they have the clientele already. They're selling their firms, I don't know, 500,000, 1 million, 750, whatever. If you have the money, or there are a few of you that can come together and say, I want to buy this firm, you can also do that and just step into the firm. So there are a number of options out there as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babalola. I think this should be our last question, and it's kind of related to the one you've just responded to, your last response. It says here, appreciating you and Ms. Adik for your presentation, and asking about partnership. That is it better to have a partnership at the outset or to grow into it? I know you talked about it, but
that's an excellent question, and it's a difficult question too. I started as a sole practitioner, and then went to partnership. It didn't work out well. It didn't work out at all. And then went back into being a sole practitioner, which I'm being honest, I've said it many times, which I absolutely don't like. And then ended up in a partnership, which is what we have now with respect to Topmarké. When I went to my first partnership, looking back, I felt I rushed it. I rushed into it and did not really cross the T's very well, dot the I's very well. I went into it based on relationship, based on friendship, and we're both good people, excellent people, good character and everything, in my opinion. And but it just did not work out. So when I stepped away from that partnership, I took my time and I said, okay, I'm going to do another partnership. I'm going to go into another partnership rather, but I will take my time, and which I did. So when I believe my partners, my 2 partners are here on the platform here, and we started out as individual lawyers, sole practitioners, and we were sharing space, and then we were working together, sharing files and everything. For instance, Akinreju was a real estate and business lawyer. I wasn't into business law or real estate, so I would pass any clients that would come my way to him to work on. And, Kemi was doing family law, which I wasn't doing at all. And was also some of my immigration files and all those things. So we were sharing files, and we were working on a number of things, and we were studying each other. I believe that as I was studying them, they were also studying me. And one day, I think we were just standing in the hallway, we were just talking, and then we mentioned this. We were both all busy working till, we will all stay, the 3 of us will stay in the office till about 11 p.m. working on our individual files. And very early in the morning, like 7 o'clock, we're back in the office. Weekend, we're in the office, sort of thing. And so we said to ourselves, this is not right. This is not the way to do things. We should be thinking about partnership. And that was how that discussion evolved. But we got to know each other, and I knew that there were some areas where I was weak. I use was because they have helped to strengthen me in some of those areas where I was weak. Running after people for money, for instance, is something that I wasn't really good at. And but some of them are better than me in making sure that we get paid. So, but our irons started sharpening irons, and then we came together. So I would say to anyone that wants to go into partnership, do not rush into it. Do not just say, he's my friend, boom, here we go. Or we work together, we'll be able to do something. No, take your time. Study that person, study that individual. The work ethics is very important. Intelligence is very important. Money management is extremely important. Integrity is extremely important. And, the ability to listen is key. Okay, is that person someone that that will listen when being corrected? How well would that individual take correction? Right? Is that individual the one that basically will be the one that wants to be known and seen and not give whatever glory that is deserved by others to them? These are all little things that do matter, right? So if you have a questionnaire, you will have to have a questionnaire with you that you'll be taking as you go along. Check. So at the end of the day, when you get there, then you can say, okay, this is the right person. Okay. But one thing, actually in our community, that you want to avoid when you are going to partnership is the involvement of people who are not involved in your business, including your spouses. You have to be careful. Otherwise, if your partner gets paid $1,000 a month, just like you, and your partner decides to use his own money to buy a Mercedes-Benz, and then you decide to use your own money to build a house in your village, and then what people will see is the Mercedes-Benz. They will not know that you are building a house in your village. So if your spouse now says, but that's your partner now, he's driving a Mercedes-Benz, and you don't have a Mercedes-Benz, that is the beginning of trouble. So that's why you want to be able to not involve. Of course, you involve in terms of moral support and all those things. But what I'm saying is that the nitty-gritty of your business is your business. Okay? And make sure you have solid agreements in place to guide you in moving forward. And then have a roadmap. If you are going to bring more people into your business as partners, make sure that they will align with your principles. Make sure they will align with the way you want to do business, because you don't want to bring someone in that will rock the boat and the sea that is quiet will start rumbling. So these are all things that you need to take into consideration before you go into partnership. But we'll have a talk about partnership someday. Make sure that we put something in place for that we can talk about. I also saw a question on the chat room that somebody was asking, can I have this recording? It will be available on our website, on our YouTube channel in a couple of weeks. We'll also make a copy available to Niger lawyers, lawyer in Canada as well, so that they can also post that on their social media platform as well. So that will take care of that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babalola. And I see Ms. Oduwole, Ms. Kemi Oduwole, one of our partners, lending her voice to what Mr. Babalola spoke about a few minutes ago about the need for foreign trained lawyers to step ahead and show or exhibit their ability. She said she's a partner with Mr. Babalola today. However, our first encounter with him was to apply at his office as a legal assistant when she first came to Canada. So this is just to let you see how networking and how selling yourself is crucial to your licensing journey and wading through the legal forest in Canada. At this point, I want to thank everyone. I know there was a comment up there from Musa about, it wasn't a question, he said he had a question about the jurisprudential guide. I would say to speak with Mr. Babalola directly. You can send him an email. He'll be happy to respond to your questions. So I thank everyone for your patience and participation. I see lots of comments as well saying thank you to all our presenters and appreciating very positive comments here about the presentations and the response to the questions. We thank you once again for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. I've posted them in the chat, and the same thing for not just Topmarké, but also for Niger lawyers in Canada. We've done this in collaboration, and we know that there'll be more collaborations in future. We hope that there'll be more collaborations in future. Thank you very much again for joining us today. We have more sessions coming up in June. Again, they're in the chat box. We have sessions on express entry. We have another one with live chat with Ms. Oduole on the 1st of June. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's tomorrow. I will be happy to have you join us. If you have any questions, you can send them ahead as well. Thank you very much for joining us again on this platform. I want to say to everyone that each one of us is a bench, each one of us is a platform, each one of us has a voice, and we should always showcase it in our journey, in our licensing journey. The forest is there, all right, but we wade through and we win. So Baba has already explained that you can do it. If he has done it, look at his own story. If he has done it, if Ms. Oduole has done it, I have done it, I can say that. And we have Ms. Sadiq coming along the line as well. We know that everyone can do it. The struggles are there, but we would wade through and would make our mark here in Canada. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Bala. Would you like to say anything else before we close?
Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone for being a part of this. Really appreciate it. Sometimes people might think that I see many people thanking us for doing this, but we should be thanking you too, because again, a tree does not make a forest. I don't know where our paths will cross, and I always believe that, you know, if we help each other to grow, then our retirement days will be good, because we can look back and say, I'm glad that I started that. When we came together to start Topmarké, I said to my partners, I said, when I'm long gone, in 100 years, 150 years, 200, it doesn't matter. I want this firm to remain, and then there will be new people who will have stepped in. Just at that point, there will be maybe 1,000 lawyers, and they will say some people from Nigeria started this law firm. And that's what we should be aspiring to do and to become. It's not enough to just say, I have ABC law firm, and when you are gone, that's it. For some, that might be okay. For someone like me, that's not okay. And that was one of the reasons why we changed the name from individual names to Topmarké, so that it won't be about individuals. It's about a team, it's about us. So when you start moving on in this profession, always think about others. It's very important. Please feel free, you can follow, you can also, on the personal note, you can follow me on LinkedIn or on social media. If you have questions, if you need some direction, you know, please, you know, feel free. Just send me an email, LinkedIn and anything, and I'll be more than happy to assist. And I can provide you with my number too. Once in a while, you can call me. So if you need some assistance, please, let's talk. And have a wonderful day, everyone. Merci beaucoup. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.